Right now, there are 3 drugs sitting in medical archives, drugs with decades of peer-reviewed evidence, drugs that have extended lifespan in nearly every organism ever tested, drugs that cost less than a cup of coffee per day. And the reason you've never heard of them isn't because the science is weak, it's because it's too strong and not profitable enough. Let's establish something before we go any further. This is not a conspiracy theory. What you're about to hear is the documented, verifiable reality of how drug development works in America. It's not about shadowy executives, it's about math. Here's how it works. For a drug to receive FDA approval for a specific condition, say, for aging, a pharmaceutical company must fund a clinical trial. These trials cost between $300 million and $2 billion. The only way a company recoups that investment is through patent protection, exclusive rights to sell that drug for up to 20 years. Here's the problem. Metformin, one of the most studied longevity compounds in history, has been off patent since the 1990s. It's fully generic. Anyone can manufacture it. A 90-day supply costs $4 at Walmart. No company is spending $2 billion to prove a drug works when their competitor can sell the exact same molecule for pocket change. This isn't malice, it's math. And it's the reason the most promising longevity science in history exists in a funding gap. Not buried by executives in a boardroom, but starved by an economic system that only rewards novelty, not efficacy. Now let's look at what the science actually says. Because what's in those peer-reviewed journals, published by an NIH, Harvard, and institutions across the world, is extraordinary. Metformin was first synthesized in 1922. It was derived from French lilac, a plant used in folk medicine for centuries. It was approved in the United Kingdom in 1958. The United States waited until 1994. For decades, doctors prescribed it for one thing only, lowering blood sugar in type 2 diabetics. But researchers kept noticing something they couldn't explain. Diabetic patients on metformin were outliving non-diabetic patients who weren't on the drug. Let that land for a moment. People with a serious metabolic disease living longer than healthier people who didn't take metformin. That's statistically impossible unless the drug itself was doing something far beyond blood sugar control. In 2014, a landmark study published in Diabetes, Obesity, and Metabolism analyzed 180,000 patients across the United Kingdom. The findings were extraordinary. Diabetics on metformin had lower mortality rates than matched non-diabetic controls, lower rates of cancer, lower rates of cardiovascular disease, lower rates of cognitive decline. So, what's actually happening inside the cell? Metformin activates an enzyme called AMPK, adenosine monophosphate activated protein kinase. Think of AMPK as your body's master energy regulator. When it fires, it triggers a cascade of cellular maintenance processes. It reduces chronic inflammation, clears out damaged proteins, improves mitochondrial function, and mimics several effects of caloric restriction, the most reproducible longevity intervention ever studied in biology. And in 2025, a study published in Cell, one of the most prestigious scientific journals on Earth, showed that long-term metformin use demonstrably slowed biological aging in primates, not just extended their lives, slowed the process of aging itself, measured at the molecular level. The evidence is not fringe. So why isn't this widely prescribed for healthy adults over 50? Because the FDA has never approved metformin for aging. And no company will fund that approval trial. Because the drug costs 3 cents a pill. The TAME trial, targeting aging with metformin, was designed specifically to change this. A series of 6-year clinical trials at 14 leading research institutions across the country, funded not by pharmaceutical companies, but by a nonprofit called the American Federation for Aging Research. As of 2024, the trial remains only partially funded, a drug with 60 years of human data, an underfunded trial, and millions of people aging every day who have never been told this exists. In 1972, a Canadian research expedition traveled to Easter Island, one of the most remote places on Earth. They returned with soil samples. Inside those samples, microbiologists isolated a compound produced by a bacterium called Streptomyces hygroscopicus. They named it Rapamycin, after Rapa Nui, the indigenous name for the island. Initially developed as an antifungal, then repurposed as an immunosuppressant for organ transplant patients, Rapamycin sat in pharmaceutical databases for decades before aging researchers looked closely at what it actually did to cells. What they found changed the science of longevity permanently. Rapamycin inhibits a protein called mTOR, mechanistic target of rapamycin. mTOR is one of biology's master regulators of cell growth. When mTOR is active, cells grow, divide, replicate. When it's inhibited, cells enter a state called autophagy, cellular repair mode. They stop growing and start cleaning, recycling damaged proteins, clearing out cellular debris, repairing DNA damage. Autophagy is, in essence, your cells performing their own maintenance. And as we age, that process becomes progressively impaired. In 2009, the National Institute on Aging published a study that sent shockwaves through geroscience. They gave rapamycin to mice, starting when the mice were already 600 days old, the human equivalent of beginning treatment at age 60. The results? Female mice lived 38% longer. Male mice lived 28% longer. This was the first time any pharmacological compound had significantly extended lifespan when started in middle-aged mammals. Since then, rapamycin has extended lifespan in yeast, worms, flies, and multiple mammalian species. The biological consistency across organisms is unprecedented in the history of geroscience. A 2025 review published in Frontiers in Aging, a peer-reviewed journal, concluded there is growing evidence that mTOR pathway activity accelerates aging and the development of age-related diseases, including cancer. And in 2025, a human trial of low-dose rapamycin in healthy adults showed measurable improvements in biological aging biomarkers. The trial was crowdfunded. Let me be honest with you here. Rapamycin is not without complexity. At the high doses used in organ transplant patients, it is a powerful immunosuppressant with significant side effects. The longevity research focuses on low-dose intermittent use, and those human trials are still underway. This is not a video telling you to take rapamycin. This is a video showing you that the evidence exists, and that the reason most people have never heard of it has nothing to do with the quality of the science. Here is a number you need to sit with. By the time you turn 50, your NAD+ levels have dropped by approximately 50% compared to your 20s. NAD+, nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is a coenzyme found in every cell in your body. Without it, your mitochondria cannot produce energy efficiently. Your DNA repair enzymes slow. Your sirtuins, proteins directly linked to longevity regulation, go quiet. For decades, this decline was treated as a symptom of aging. Leading researchers now believe it's a cause. Dr. David Sinclair of Harvard Medical School, one of the most cited scientists in geroscience, documented in Cell Metabolism that NAD+ decline creates a cascade. As levels drop, mitochondrial function deteriorates, inflammation rises, and DNA damage accumulates faster than repair mechanisms can clear it. Two compounds have clinical evidence for raising NAD plus NMN, nicotinamide mononucleotide, and NR, nicotinamide riboside. In 2023, a twin study published in Science Advances showed NR supplementation measurably increased NAD plus levels and improved metabolic health markers. The twin design controls for genetics, making it one of the most rigorous possible study designs. A 2024 clinical trial from Wake Forest University showed NR supplementation in adults over 60 improved physical performance and muscle function. outcomes directly linked to NAD plus restoration. The 2025 meta-analysis in the Journal of Cachexia, Sarcopenia, and Muscle analyzed multiple human trials and confirmed NAD plus precursor supplementation improves muscle mass and function in older adults. Now, there's an important caveat here. 2026 research has raised questions about the complex interactions of NMN and NR in certain cellular environments. Science is not a finished document, it evolves. And staying current on that evolution matters more than committing to any single supplement. What is not in dispute? NAD plus declines with age. That decline is biologically significant, and understanding it is foundational to understanding longevity science. Let's step back and look at the structure. The FDA approval process was designed for safety. That's essential. We need rigorous drug testing, but the process has a structural flaw. It requires a disease indication. You don't approve a drug. You approve a drug for a specific condition. For most of modern medicine, aging was not classified as a disease. It was simply life. This means you cannot run an FDA approval trial to treat aging itself. You need to target a specific age-related disease: cancer, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular failure. Even if you conclusively proved that a compound slows biological aging, the FDA had no regulatory pathway to approve it for that purpose. This is slowly changing. The FDA's Geroscience initiative has begun building frameworks for treating aging as a modifiable biological process, but regulatory architecture lags decades behind the science. Meanwhile, longevity clinics across America are already prescribing Metformin, low-dose Rapamycin, and NAD plus precursors off-label to patients who can afford the consultations, navigate the system, and access the information. Brian Johnson, a tech entrepreneur, publicly spends $2 million per year in his own biological optimization, working with teams of physicians to apply exactly the science we've discussed in this video. Peter Attia, a physician and one of the most rigorous voices in longevity medicine, has written extensively about these compounds for a general audience. David Sinclair has been discussing this research publicly for years. The information exists, the science exists, the access problem is real, and it's not random. It tracks closely with socioeconomic status, medical network access, and information exposure. That gap has a cost, measured in years of healthy life, at scale, across a population. So where does this leave you? First, the foundation is free. Before any compound matters, the longevity interventions with the most replicated evidence aren't patented by anyone. Adequate sleep, resistance training, Zone 2, cardiovascular exercise, caloric awareness, these are documented in thousands of studies and cost nothing. Second, verify everything yourself. Every study cited in this video is linked in the description below. Primary sources, open access, PubMed, NIH, read them yourself. Healthy skepticism of everything, including this video, is the correct default position in health science. Third, if the compounds interest you, engage with a physician, not a supplement company, not a podcast, a physician who is current on geroscience. Metformin is already prescribed off-label by longevity-focused doctors. NAD plus precursors are over-the-counter. Rapamycin requires supervised medical context. The point of this video was never to tell you what to take. The point was to show you that science doesn't move at the speed of drug approval, that economic incentives shape which discoveries become treatments, and that the gap between what research knows and what most people are told is real, documented, and significant. You now know what the evidence says. What you do with it is up to you. If this changed how you think, share this video. The science deserves a wider audience than the longevity clinics of Silicon Valley. Subscribe. New video every week. The sources are in the description.